Hello viewers, marhaban to today's episode of Load Shedding, a show that focuses explicitly on current affairs pertaining to the African continent. And today in our controversial topic we shall be focusing on a country in North Africa, namely Libya. My name is Kees Kibinda. When we think of the topic slavery, most of us would like to think that this is something that is of the past, of the distant past. However, this is sadly not the case, and in many African countries the practice of slavery is still practiced till today. And I've created a list of the top 12 countries where this persists at this present time. Well, it's a list that was set up in 2015, but let's have a quick look through it. So we're starting from bottom to top, so to speak. Number 12 is Malawi, which ranks 25th worldwide. The population of 18.9 million people, and 122,000 of these are in slavery or are enslaved. Number 11 is Burkina Faso, which ranks 24th worldwide on the list of slavery, or countries with the most slaves, so to speak. Population of 18.65 million people, and 126,300 are estimated to be enslaved. Niger is number 10. It ranks 23rd worldwide. It has a population of 20.67 million people, and 133,000 of these are enslaved. Number 9, Mozambique, which ranks 22nd worldwide. It has a population of 28.83 million people, and 192,600 are enslaved. Ghana is number 8 on our list, and it ranks 21st worldwide. It has a population of 28.21 million, and 193,100 are said to be enslaved. Number 7 is quite surprising to me. Anyway, it is Botswana. It ranks 18th worldwide. It has a population of 2.25 million people, and 18,300 are said to be enslaved. Namibia is number 6 on the list. It ranks 17th worldwide and has a population of 2.48 million people, and 20,900 are said to be enslaved. And mind you, Namibia comes just as much as a surprise to me as Botswana does. Number 5 is the Republic of Congo. It ranks 11th worldwide. It has a population of 5.126 million people, and 49,200 of these are said to be enslaved. Number 4 is Central African Republic. It ranks 10th worldwide. It has a population of 5.595 million, and 52,200 are said to be enslaved. Number 3 is Sudan, not South Sudan, but Sudan. It ranks 8th worldwide. It has a population of 39.58 million people, and 429,000 of these people are said to be enslaved. Number 2, which is second last and, well, the second highest ranking on here, is the Democratic Republic of Congo. It ranks 7th worldwide. It has a population of 78.74 million, and 762,000 of these people are said to be enslaved. And the one that has the dishonor of being first on the list is Mauritania. It ranks number 1 worldwide with 155,600 out of 4.301 million people are said to be enslaved. Now mind you, these are all domestic enslavements, so to speak, people from within these respective countries that are enslaved in their own nations. So you might be somewhat surprised to see that Libya is not on this list. Well, you know, this is a list from 2015, but I also mentioned that the figures that I just spoke about are about people that are enslaved in their respective countries. And in Libya, this is not really what is the case, because the people that are being enslaved are pouring in from other African countries into Libya, as they're using Libya as gateway into Europe. Now, why is there such a thing going on as slavery at this point in time in Libya? Much can be said about it, but the blunt reason for it is that the flow of migrants that are using Libya as gateway into Europe is being stemmed because the West has been cracking down on these things, and therefore the smugglers that were in the past pouring these people into Europe are now trying to find other ways of making money, and well, slavery is a result as of that. But that's not the only thing. These people that are pouring into Libya are not only being enslaved, they're also being raped, they're being robbed of their valuables, and then in many instances they're even being murdered as well. Because of the way the West has been cracking down on the flow of migrants into Europe via Lampedusa and Libya, now people are said to be stuck in Libya from these surrounding African countries, between 400,000 and 1 million people. which is a big amount. Now, the current slave markets in operation in Libya have not always been there. They started to spring up right after the 20th of October in 2011. What is so important about that date? Well, that is the date on which Colonel Gaddafi was killed. He was the leader of Libya from 1969, when he took over in a coup, until the time of his murder on the 20th of October in 2011. And ever since then, Libya has been in turmoil. In fact, it is a failed state, with two opposing parties claiming to be the rightful government and ISIS being present in the country, causing havoc, which is a perfect breeding ground for situations such as the slave markets that are going on in the country at this point in time. The countries where most of these migrants are coming from towards Libya in order to migrate towards Europe are from West African countries, namely Senegal, Guinea-Bissau, Gambia, Liberia, and Nigeria. So just to reiterate, these smugglers used to make their money by having these migrants pour into Libya and ship them onto boats that will take them to Europe. But because of the crackdown, it has become a little bit more difficult to be able to do this. And in order to still make a profit, these people have now resorted to enslaving people. Now, there's two types of people that pour into Libya. There's those that have paid for their fare up front, and then there's those that promise to pay for the fare later, or when they get to Libya, they want to work somewhere, make some money, and then once they have enough money, continue on their journey into Europe. Now, I've heard of instances where the people that have paid up front could still end up as slaves because these smugglers pocket the money and then sell them as slaves anyway. But the more vulnerable people are those that come without having paid for the fare. So what happens is they pour into Libya, they're held captive, and then once they're held captive, they're being tortured by the smugglers. And this is done whilst they're on speakerphone in order to entice the loved ones to send money in order to free these people. Now, this is a terrible situation because these people endure hardships because they're being tortured. But also, once they are freed, if they're lucky, they cannot proceed on their journey towards Europe. Instead, they end up going back to their respective countries, facing further poverty and turmoil. And of course, well, I wouldn't say the wrath of their families, but, you know, they've caused them trouble because they've sent money that most of the time these people do not have. What's worse is that there are people out there that don't have the money at all, and these are the people that end up being sold as slaves, and sometimes worse, they end up dead. I, for one, cannot imagine what these people go through that are on this path towards trying to reach Europe. They really have so much courage to leave their loved ones behind. Some of them leave their daughters, their wives, or their husbands behind in order to look for greener pastures, in order to send money back home or fetch them at a later stage. And they know full well that the road that leads to Europe is full of treachery, and the chances of them actually reaching them or reaching their destination is very slim. And this margin is even narrowed more by the actions of these smugglers that are now enslaving these people. And if you think about the prices at which these people are sold for as slaves, makes you even want to cry even more. Because I'm not talking about hundreds of thousands of euros. I'm talking about maybe $400 per male head, which is about 340 euros. Women are slightly more valuable because what they go through is probably even worse. They're sold as sex slaves most of the time, and they fetch about $2,300 or $2,400 per head, which is about 2,000 euros. It's just, I'm speechless. I'm at a loss of words. As you can imagine, these slave markets in Libya caused quite the stir. In fact, a few days ago, there was a summit between European leaders and African Union leaders to discuss several issues, and the slave markets in Libya became a very hot topic. Now, leaders such as Angela Merkel of Germany and Emmanuel Macron from France were present. Of course, France feels a lot of responsibility for what's going on in Libya because they were one of the main instigators to make sure that Gaddafi was ousted. And Emmanuel Macron has taken it upon himself to really apologize for this matter, and even went as far as saying that he would never have ousted Gaddafi in this way. Now, let's be frank here. Even though the Africans are leaving their respective countries, using Libya as gateway to try and get into Europe. It is not a European problem, it is an African problem. And Libya is not even the root of it. Even though the slave markets are there, Libya is a failed state, and therefore the people or the government can do very little in order to stop this from going on. The surrounding countries from which these people are leaving are the ones that really need to look inwards and try and find a solution towards preventing these people from leaving. And one of the main reasons why people leave is because their lives are just full of poverty and they're trying to make a better living. So they need to come up with programs that will enable people to economically advance themselves. Now, this is something that will not happen overnight, and I don't have a solution towards fixing this from the get-go, but it is evident that we really need to change tactics, and we really need to start looking towards and making people's lives better at a faster pace, so that they do not leave illegally looking for greener pastures. Once again, the fact that something needs to be done is very evident, and that it is a dire matter that needs urgent attention is even more apparent. But what needs to be done, that is the question. I've heard crazy tales, like for example, Samuel Eto'o reportedly sent a plane to pick up fellow countrymen and take them back home. He later disputed the fact that this really happened. He said that this was not the case, but I'm very sure that he also has a heavy heart reading these instances about people being trapped in Libya and sold as slaves. It is not upon people like him to save these people. It is up to our leaders in the AU to take this matter in hands and solve the situation. And my question to you viewers is, what do you think can be done in order to prevent the slave trade from happening? Mind you, Libya is not the only country where slave trade is happening. I gave you 12 other examples of other African countries where this is going on. There's something that needs to be done, both in our culture and in the way our mindset is in terms of economic enhancements. I'm looking forward to hear from you what those could be, and maybe we can discuss this at a later point in time. That's it for today. That was my controversial topic. It really touched me in any case, and I'm pretty sure it touched you as well. You can follow me on the well-known platforms, namely Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. My name is Kees Kibinda. Until next time, bye-bye.